That is absolutely hilarious. All those things that I just said, and we missed it all. So, should be good now. Evo Mike, are you hearing me, my man? So, thank you for that, for the shout out there. Well, perfect. So, what I was saying though is that new week, new place, out in Mississippi. New Orleans happens to be internet down across the board there, and so as that is the case, I am out here in the sticks. But however, they got great internet here. They got Gigablast where I'm at, so no complaints there on my part with that. But I am very curious to see what you guys want to see tonight. So we have a couple different options here, and that is with tonight we are able to either paint some of these parts, if you guys want to see that, or we are able to just finish up the building for the frame of the legs. So we got the frame of the legs, but we have the armor left to kind of clip out and get on. As you can see here, we got some armor pieces. So go ahead and just throw into the chat, what are you looking to see tonight? What would help your next build to get going? Is what I'm all curious about. Give it just a second more here. Whoops. Oh, buddy, Evo Mikey. Arc Freight, it could be your mobile data at that point. So, Evo Mikey, what you want? You want to see some airbrushing, or do you want to see some... Do you want to see some more, once again, final build pieces? Throw it up in the chat. I am good either way. I'm just happy to be building some Gundam. All right, well let's do some brushing then. So, especially because we're going to be covering up colors. I did forget one color tonight. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for that. This was supposed to be, these white pieces here of this Buster Shield is supposed to be red. So, red right here on top. So that's the only one. That's the only color I didn't bring tonight. Everything else we're really going to have a chance to brush up and get looking nice and neat. So we're going to finish up the feet specifically, which is a few colors. This torso as well. So this, this is the waist armor. So the waist armor here, and then of course the jetpack pieces as well. Once again, being the goober that I am, I left the middle piece of the jetpack here actually at home. I meant to bring it so I can actually even paint the wings too for it. So that's going to have to be put on standby for now. However, we got a lot of painting still to do, specifically with those parts that we've already mentioned as well. So we're going to start out with the Buster Shield tonight. I'm going to take some of these off. Some of these pieces. Big thing to think about as well when you are going to be painting is, are you going to do acrylics? Are you going to do lacquers? Are you going to do, as my favorite, or enamels? All those do sit and spray differently if you're going to be using an airbrush kit. So, ooh, this is really on there today. And so I use, here's an actual look at the name brand itself. This is actually going to be our gray for our jetpack. I thought I was going to have to mix it, but I actually have a very, very, very similar color to what I had on the other Deathscythe. So grab this one, but it's Vallejo Mecha. It's got a nice satin base. So it sits really, really well. Goes well with any top coat, whether you want to do glossy or even a more matte looking finish as well. You can definitely get all that done here. So I'm actually going to need to get a tool to get that up. It's so firmly attached. So and so big thing is that when you go enamels really don't normally require a primer. Normally require a primer. You can do it, of course, but it's a much harder color, and it does take longer to dry. But the return on investment can be really, really awesome as well. Just give it, once again, once you paint those parts, give it literally a good week before you start going with them. Okay, so in Evo Mike, you see that you posted in there that you're using Tamiya paints, which Tamiya is actually a really good mixture between like a lacquer and an acrylic. I recommend using a mask while you paint those, as their fumes are not very fun. They're not great for you either. There's a good warning label about them. Granted, what doesn't have a good warning label nowadays? They clean up well with their own thinner, and they also clean up very, very well with alcohol. So, big things to note there. These pieces are really stuck on. And I'm trying not to break it. Ah, that's why. Ah, that clip was underneath it. Well done on the design there. Alright, there we go. Whew. Well, that broke some pieces off, but it'll still work. Whew. Well, now that I've broken an entirely large amount of sweat just to go ahead and get these pieces off. These are all going to be solidly painted. Nothing more we need to do for them. Straightforward. I'm going to take off the thrusters from it because I do want the thrusters to be a different color than the actual pack. So I'm going to take all those off. Put them aside in my box for now. Disassemble the feet. Oh, and Evo Mikey, another really good thing to note is if you are using Tamiya, you can actually spray that directly onto the model. I particularly do that with the white. If I am going to paint white with Tamiya, I just spray it directly onto the model, and it usually coats almost any color pretty well enough in addition to that. So I would try it out first, and if not, just take some alcohol, rub it right off, and it will come right off in addition to that. So I am going to actually tear this apart a little bit here as well. I totally get it as well, Evo Mikey. Like it is a very common thing that you do want to have some primer, but to be honest, I paint literally all my Tamiya stuff without primer whatsoever, and it usually turns out really, really sharp as well. I wish I had an example here, but I have, for instance, a Tamiya clear color, and we're going to use that because that red piece is clear here. But yeah, I don't prime for this even as well. Now, granted, sure, it's the same. They mentioned the mixture is a little bit different because it's clear, but it gives you the exact same instructions as well. So I will say, yeah, whatevs. But primers do. I mean, as we've even seen it, like painting our yellow stuff, we have seen some pretty cool effects by actually priming them. Actually, I was going to take this apart, but I think I'm going to just leave it together. I'll hand paint it on the inside. It'd just be so much easier. If I would have put this together, it'd been easier to paint beforehand. Alright, so we're getting all the light colors together. Shoes. Oh, and Evo Mikey, correct me if I'm wrong though, the primer you got is actually a spray can though, yes? That's usually what they have for Tamiya. That metallic blue is actually a really, really pretty color. Metallic blue would actually benefit from a black primer, but I don't even think Tamiya makes a black primer. If I'm honest with you, I don't remember. Because that's literally how little I use it. If anything, once again, my primer is Vallejo Mecha. Alright, woo! Lots of work just to get it apart. That'll be super easy to paint right there. These ones we do have to take apart a little bit more. These are going to be our blues, more blues. Oh, okay. Makes sense. All good. Alright. Getting my pieces set aside that I'm not going to paint. Not going to paint any of this gray underneath. I'm actually going to leave that. Very similar to its other armor color, so just taking those off. Those are going to be my gray as well over here. These are going to be chrome. I'm just going to move these legs out of the way. Gray, chrome. Do note that obviously when you're about to paint, after you paint, you do have to put it back together, so don't get too crazy with the taking apart piece without knowing where everything goes. Or you end up like I have in the past where it's just like, I just painted this, but I don't know where any of it goes. Now, a fun thing as well when it comes down to airbrushing is having something to hold your pieces with. I literally, and I'm sure you've seen them before as well. These are just small little alligator clips from, I don't know, Walmart. It comes with like a pack of 6 for like $1.50. And this is actually just three toothpicks, but excuse me, not 3 toothpicks, 2 toothpicks. One broken in half, and then one that's in full length. Shove those all in the middle here, and that makes a nice little alligator clip. And I got just like a little foam board that was left over from like a house project that I made for my actual stand. The reason why I got it out is so I can pull this out, as a matter of fact. Because once again, not looking to paint those grays. Alright, these are supposed to be red. I'm going to leave those to the side. And this is going to be my yellow. And I still hate painting yellow. Alright, I'm going to start with my least favorite color first in all actuality, which is the clear red this time. So I'm going to do what I consider a really cool painting technique. We're going to leave this looking as much as a glass effect as we can. To me, it does a really good job with their clear color specifically, and making it so that it shows through. So we're going to paint this side specifically with our clear red, but we're going to paint the back side specifically chrome. So if we make it chrome, it's going to really make that clear red pop out really strong, while also still holding that depth effect. That depth effect is super key here to really make it look like, once again, that it's an active sensor in it, and the sensor is going to be a glass cover over a light fixture behind it. So that's the look we're going for, and once again, we are going to go ahead and achieve that specifically by doing our clear red on top and doing our chrome behind it. And so that's going to be, we're going to do the clear red first as our first color for the night. And so, sorry for the constant rattling of the air compressor. I'm also going to do this because I'm at somebody else's home. I'm going to throw some newspaper underneath my painting area specifically, so I make sure I don't get anything on these tables as well. If you can, if you're going to paint, to me as well, I recommend painting them outside. It is nice and rainy out over here, so I am not going to be outside. So I'm going to get that set into place. Got all my pieces here. Put this back in, and we're going to go to work. I also have, once again, just like a little foam board here. Oh. Did my video drop? Maybe? What's up, Beard Pills? Good to see you. I think my video dropped real quickly, guys, with moving the camera. I'm going to be right back to see if I get that back up and running. Oh, you still see it? Okay, well, if you still see it, that's great. Thank you for letting me know. All right. I think I got bumped when I was moving it. So anyway, foam board here. We're going to get working on that as well. So that's just what I use. That's leftover from my house project. And so we're gonna do our, once again, our clear red. I left this specifically on the runner to make it just a little bit easier as well to paint. You don't really have to worry about where to grab it as well. I use also my smallest nozzle brush. So this is a 0.02 millimeter airbrush needle on the inside of this one. So it's actually a really thin brush. It really helps with that clear to me to come out nice and smooth as well. Now this paint is also relatively pretty thick. Actually, this one looks pretty thin. I might have already thinned it. Yep, I thinned it, and we're gonna use the back end. Oh, you can see me, but not my table. Yep, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep. So hold on just a second. Let me reboot that camera. Let me reboot that camera because I definitely want you guys to see that. So I might have to X out real fast. Be right back, guys. Be right back. Hey everybody, can you see now? We good? We good? So it looks like I'm seeing. Alright, thank you guys so much for your patience there. I really, really appreciate that, and sorry for that hiccup. Alright, so mixing it up a little bit here. I think I've already thinned it out. I'm using the end of one of these specifically clips here just to go ahead and stir it around, and I'm actually going to just literally take it from here and directly drop it in. A few drops. Probably don't need much, maybe 3. Toothpick probably gets just a few drops off of it at a time. And so got in a pretty good pressure in addition to that. And I'm going to spray just over here in my newspaper just to see what I got coming out. Yep, comes out pretty good. So the camera probably is going to shake a little bit here, guys, because the camera is also connected to the table that the airbrush is on. As a matter of fact, actually, let's make an adjustment there. Let's make that better for you. No camera shake, dropping it to the floor. Alright, we're going to spray this clear piece right here. And you can see we get, actually it does need a little bit more thinning specifically, but it's coming out not too bad. Pretty good. We're going to need like a few more, just a couple more drops. Red is a little bit more finicky of my clear colors. Even the clear yellow works better than the red sometimes. Alright, we should have enough now. And there we go. Nice, clear, and red. See all that depth still there? This one we don't have to give it too much attention because it is still going to be very, very hidden in the first place though as well. It's going to be hidden inside of another piece. So everything else now though, I'm literally going to coat everything with that black primer. So everything is going to get the black primer treatment tonight. That's our base color for everything for this one. We're looking for Deathscythe once again to be nitty and gritty and hard pressed as well. So we're going to go black primer for everything from here on out. So fair amount of priming to do tonight. It's going to get our gray pieces over here. Our singular yellow. Chrome, and then all these bad boys. These are the last ones too of the Deathscythe navy blue that we've got custom made. So pull out my bigger brush. We are going to have to take a brief intermission here as well to go clean the brushes. Since I'm not in my own element, I don't have my sink very, very close, but I still need to do it, so I will put it on a brief pause at that point as well for you. And so we will, once again, as when that time comes, that time will come. And I will put you guys back on standby. Oh, look at me, I'm about to use my actual color versus priming. Alright, I try to do, and with my painting as well, I try to do 5 drops of primer, or 5 drops of any paint at any given time. That way I don't waste, and sometimes it's a little bit easier to clean that way too. So that's just a little tip per se that I do to help with my painting. I'm actually going to need my toothpicks for these. I'm mounting this specifically on with a toothpick versus a clip Toothpicks are just as vital to me as actually having these alligator clips, which is why I use kind of a little bit of both. Alright, we got that. We're going to get this one too. It's going to be all yellow. Foot pieces, I'm actually going to try to actually stick a toothpick right here in the actual joint. We'll mount those in a second. These ones are actually really hard to grab. I remember from the last Deathscythe, they were really tough. Oh, I see. That's how I did it. Another toothpick is going to be needed there. Gotta find them in my box. Hopefully I brought enough. I think I brought just a few. Oh, maybe just enough. Just need one more now. Alright, we'll go with what we got for now. I'm going to focus a little bit more heavily on the waist unit piece specifically. Just because I can get more of that done tonight. I feel like that's how I'm sliding those in there. Tip of the toothpick in there. As well. This is still needing to be that color. So we're going to mount it. This is where that red piece is actually going to be hidden inside of right there. So it's hardly going to be seen, but we're still going to give it the trimming that it deserves. Good test form is also shake them, see if it comes off the clip, then obviously you need to re-clip it. But if not, then you're good to go. Maybe. Yeah, sorry, Beard Pills, for the issue at first. It was, I bumped my camera USB, and then that obviously just onboard brought OBS just decided to not like the camera anymore. So, fortunately, got it back up and running. And also, if anybody has been going back to watch any other episodes, either from Gundam Wednesday or from GunPla and Chill as well, the big issue is that's going on right now. So super sorry about this. Is that I have not been at a location that I can actually upload to anywhere yet. This is actually my first time, and my computer that has most of those videos, sadly, is at home. And so I have not dropped it out of its cave, per se, to go ahead and get it to upload those videos. So stand by. Once again, appreciate the patience. I promise it'll be worth it to see the whole series there for Deathscythe. And we're actually super excited because we're almost done with Deathscythe. And if you've been clocking it, wondering how long does it take to do Master Grade from start to finish, well, we're going to probably be close to about 8 hours, full details for everything. Excuse me, my apologies, not 8 hours. About 12 hours. For full details and everything. That includes the decals, includes the painting that we have been doing. So that's what we're looking at for your time frame here for these master grades, which is pretty awesome because we have a number of master grades to still do. But stay tuned though, because especially right when we come to the end of Deathscythe, we are actually going to post up for the community in Discord to see what's going to be our next build from the list that I have available. I'm going to call it my upstairs list because, you know, you get the garage backlog, and then we've got the clear and present backlog as well, which is inside the house per se. All right, woo! That is all of the pieces that we're going to really get jumping into right now. That's going to be a lot of primer, so let's go to work. And just, once again, fantastic coat. I'm a huge fan of black primer, and it's because it goes on so smooth. And I do need to paint both sides of this, because both sides will be seen. Alright, and now we're going to get the other side. It's always great as well, everybody, is that if you paint your... this is a... I'll show you again for it. Mecha Primer by Vallejo, or Vallejo. It's Spanish. My brother speaks Spanish, so he's the one that told me how to say it. But yeah, it's so smooth, and once again, it really adds a great effect to many pieces. And it's especially important to use a black primer when you are painting metallic colors. It really helps them to shine, and you will see it specifically when we paint the chrome on this piece. Also, the beautiful thing about acrylics is how fast they dry. They dry so quickly. And they're so easy to clean up. Alright, on to our navy blue. I'm also going to paint both sides, especially we have a slight bit of detail right there. And painting can also do one other effect as well, and that is it allows for the pieces to have really great stick when they sit into their peg joints. And Evo Mikey, another really good question. Some paints yes, some paints no. The Vallejos are really good about not needing to be painted, but sometimes Tamiya's yes I will paint, I will thin them. 1 drop of thinner for 1 drop of paint for Tamiya is what I've seen specifically, and that's also going to help the paint come out smoother. You do want to get to that milky consistency. The good news is that this Vallejo paint is already at a milky consistency, so if you want it to be more clear, think of it like this: the more thinner you add in, the more clear your paint is going to be as well. But yeah, I definitely find myself thinning out, especially the clear colors. I find myself thinning them a lot more than any others. But I will definitely thin out my Tamiya paints. But they come out great. I mean, once again, it's okay to have it thin, especially because sometimes thinning it allows it to have... That's how you can get those... The bleeding effect, per se, the bleeding effect of the primer. And what I mean by that is that, hey, I've got a dark primer, but if I fully paint my color on top of that, I may never even see it or get darker with it. And that's going to be especially true with Tamiya paints. But when you thin them, you're able to see the bleed through for the primer. The good news is that's why I use the mecha paints that I do. They're already at the right consistency, so we'll see that bleed through. All right, where we at? Where we at? I also try to paint very, very similar parts all together. That way I know where I'm at as well. I brought my glove, but yet I'm not wearing it at all. Like a bonehead. Bonehead Sunday, let's call it that. As a matter of fact, I am going to put it on now, though. All right. Looking good. That is a phenomenal question there, Eva. No. Please keep the questions coming specifically. That is a phenomenal question. And it's really, sadly, the answer is not going to be great because it depends. So, hold on just a second. I will show you some of that. The first thing I do is I will take my airbrush, just fully disconnect it, right? Take it down to a sink, and I run warm water straight into this. Warm water straight into it. Let it even splash around a little bit there as well. Get the main bulk of it out that way. Then I follow up the cleaning with specifically some Tamiya thinner, if I'm going to use Tamiya. Yeah, I just put them in the smaller bottles because this is a nice drop bottle. Viejo Recycle for the win here, actually. So I'll follow up with that. However, though, I do like my brushes very, very clean. So I have an extra bottle of literally just straight up, this is isopropyl alcohol, 70%, literally whatever you can buy at Walmart. Any isopropyl alcohol will actually really do. And follow up with a spray of that as well. Now you do want to go ahead and take out your needle and wipe it down with just have like a microfiber rag, or have like even just a paper towel. Or another really good one is that you get those from like AutoZone or even in the Walmart, the shop towels. Those will last a long, long time. Like one towel will last for easily multiple paint sessions. Specifically for me, and that'll really help clean up the needle. So just put some of the Tamiya thinner on it as well to go ahead and clean it out. So last but not least, if you can find it at your hobby shop, which sometimes they don't always have it, but get some of this. This is actually the Vallejo one. It works pretty good after you've cleaned out with Tamiya, just the process that I mentioned. It will help to lubricate the brush, though, specifically. So wipe the needle with, after you've been spraying it, wipe it still with the cleaner. And I'll actually show you what my needle looks like, because it's still, like, paint will still sometimes sit in the chambers up in here, and we don't want that. And then there's one final thing with the needle out. Put the finger up here against the nozzle, put some thinner alcohol even, or water, straight up in there, and press up against it to let the air push out anything that's actually stuck in the tip of the nozzle, though, as well. I wish I could show all of that on camera, but it's a really, really messy process, especially at the sink. But I'll show you guys the other cleansing out here tonight, though, so I should be able to show that. So anyway, let me paint before I dry up here. So, and yeah, we'll show that in just a second. And actually, that's why I got, like, if you see that big wet spot right there, that's what happens. Lets the paint dry up and it pushes out all at once. It's not the greatest, but I'm happy to answer the question. So, Evo Mikey, beard pills. Wow, words are hard. Keep them coming, guys. Yeah. That one's got to be painted from all sides, though, as well as it will be seen from all sides. Oh, Evo Mikey, especially since you mentioned you're going to start painting, push out air first, and then pull the trigger back to release. That way you'll have a much more controlled spray. It's not, so an airbrush is not a spray can. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to release as I go. And then get to the right pressure. And that'll give you your smoothest coat as well. Sorry if that was a little bit garbled. Let me know if I need to repeat it. I'm happy to. Oh, I missed just the tips. Look at that, still white. All right, this is I think this is the final piece for the armor that needs to be painted this color. Alright, so we still got more primer to do all day, every day. Before I'm gonna, and guys, we might go just a little bit later, especially because of the interruption as well. So we're gonna start, actually this is painting the feet. Super glad to hear it. Oh, that nub mark is still even showing a little bit right there. Yeah. No, it's painted over now. I'm not going back for it. It's all right. We'll just put like a little bit of wash right there on it, and it will look like some battle scar damage. So done. I particularly love how these feet look once they're done. All right. Appreciate how many pieces there are too. There we go. Not spraying both sides, but spraying all the angles once again that it's showing, which is, it looks like it's all sides, but it's not. And I'm out of primer again. good. Good. Now, because I do paint a lot with this Vallejo mecha, that'll be for next week in more detail, Eva Mikey. But I use washes to panel line specifically, and they also like it says, washing is like you're gonna paint over it, and then if you let it dry and then scrub off, it gives like scrape effects, it gives battle damage, it gives some slight weathering without being too heavy. And so we'll show that specifically because all the we'll probably get to our leg armor pieces next week, and that's got a ton of panel lining that we need to do. So you'll really see it at that point. But it gives that whole gritty look. And I know one of my favorite examples is that if you've ever flown in an airplane, sit next to the wing specifically if you can, and watch the flaps. You see tons of streak marks and everything from oil, debris, buildup of grime, like all those things specifically add to the weathering of the airplane. And so we're looking to mimic those same things with our Gundams because, you know, Gundams are dirty. Gundams get in, you know, grimy places. There's space dust everywhere, you know, in space, right? And then, of course, they're fighting each other in other places. So, yes, the grime is very, very welcome. And that, to me, gives it like a truer form of a panel line anyway. So yeah, if you want the anime effect, get like a nice heavy like liquid chrome pen or something. But I like the subtle look that, hey, if a Gundam is out there, it gets dirty and stuff, you're going to have a grimy look inside of its actual areas or where its plates, where metal meets. So that's why I use exclusively a wash versus like a liquid chrome pen or even the Tamiya accent liner, which is definitely meant for panel lining. But it's an enamel base, so it can actually weaken parts. That's another conversation later. But that's where I'm going to get my favorite effects, though, is from specifically using a black wash or even a dark gray wash, though, as well. Dark gray looks really, really good on whites, but the black wash looks great on other things. And then you can use brown washes for like reds and yellows and stuff like that as well. Yes. Oh, so that look, your best bet is actually going to get B. If you want to look like broken down rusty, get some enamel paints specifically just for doing the weathering effect. It looks really, really like flat enamels look amazing as weathering effect. I usually don't go that gritty with my Gundams, but I am thinking of doing something like that for my 08th MS team look. So stay tuned on that. Another way to also get like a really, really good broken down rusty look is, believe it or not, is primers. Primers really, really help out with that. I really like to with your black primers, your brown primers, or sand color primers. Those really add some fantastic effects for when you paint those. Excuse me, paint those underneath and then paint the white on top, especially like a spackly white. And what I mean by that is that it's not a full even coat intentionally. It's heavier in some spots. Circle brushing, so you're brushing in a circle like this. It really just adds amazing effects. Look up specifically if you want to see that. Some guy in England did a really, really awesome job. You look up 5 hour master grade, and he shows you his circle brushing technique, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's a really great example of what you can do with like he used a dark gray, oh, excuse me, not a dark gray, but like a good gray primer, and he used it for, he put white on top of it. And once again, it doesn't look white, it looks used. It looks like a used grimy white, which is fantastic to me. And especially if you're going for that grimy look, that with some brown primers. Primers really, they just add so much fun. And you don't have to be perfect with them if you're trying to go for that deserted look. And you can even, at that point, intentionally miss spots painting, and it looks great. Alright, almost done with all that primer. Thanks for sticking in there. Whew. Lots of different things. Great questions, though, in the chat, everybody that has had some. I love to talk about them. Even actually, we've opened up a, on the Discord, we've opened up for some discussion specifically outside of just here, you know, meeting up for Gunpla and Chill on Sundays. Ask those questions even while you're building and stuff. I'll reply as soon as I can, or anybody else in the community that's joined up there, reply away, tell us your techniques, tell us your things that make it work. Everybody's looking to just build better Gundams, and that's exactly what we are desiring to do. Yeah, if you can find a brown primer, or even just paint your Gundam brown, or paint those areas brown first, and then paint white over on top of it, same effect, actually. The primer is just fun because primer is a little bit more matte, a little bit more, how to say, you can tell it's not the permanent color, is what's great about primer. And it helps with the adhesion of the paint, of course. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. But it specifically has a really nice effect if you're painting over on top of it. Oh, good stuff. So we are painting this whole thing, that gray color, and then I'm going to hand paint those in there with like a the steel color. Reason why I'm doing that, for one, it's actually too difficult to get back out with the hand painting, but two, once again, in the anime, it's not this blue and yellow, it's just straight up gray. So that's what we're going to use. Plus, I don't mind hand painting. Oh wow, this is why you paint from all angles. Alright, it looks like it got it all. Now I'm separating my, and I'll show you my pad here in just a second, but I'm separating out all my different colors with just a little bit of space there as well, so I make sure that I don't accidentally grab the wrong color piece and then paint it the wrong color. And I'm still kicking myself for not bringing the wings. I really wanted to jump on those tonight. Especially if we wanted to paint like you guys wanted to. Yeah, if you got those kits that you're not particularly excited about, take them, build them, try these techniques that we've talked about overall so far, and then that way you can put them into practice with the kit that you are excited about and make them look super sharp. So I know we've gone over multiple techniques. Across the board, so try them all out. We haven't done any like merge. No, we have done some panel lining. Excuse me, some seam line repair with this kit on the wings itself. I remember now. Alrighty, sticking with me, guys. One more piece, and then I'll show you that brush cleaning though as well. And then we'll paint a few colors here, and then I don't want to keep you too late. I don't know what all time zones we're all in. But yeah, we're trying to keep it an hour, but we'll go a little bit over tonight just so we can see what it looks like. CST for beard gills. Alright, so hang tight here just for a little bit. We'll be right back to show once again our next step there of how to clean the brush. Even Mikey, you humor me too much. So, gonna be right back real quickly here, guys. Stay tuned. I'm gonna go ahead and clean out both airbrushes. They both need a little bit of cleaning here. So they're cleaned. Once again, I'm just gonna go blast them with water first, like warm water specifically, and then we'll come back. This is a Tamiya specifically, and this is a Vallejo. So that actually determines a little bit differently how we're gonna paint them. So we'll see you back in a moment. I just noticed that I played the wrong overlay though. You mentioned beard feels that it's nice, but I played the wrong one. There's a one that's specifically for Be Right Back, and I did not do that one. So, alrighty. So one other thing I did fail to mention is that as I'm blasting with water, I'm actually pulling the needle in and out. I just loosen it, pull the needle in and out to kind of let, once again, the water just get through the whole chamber though. So this is Tamiya, so I'm actually going to go first off with my Tamiya thinner. Just a few drops here. If you don't have an eyedrop bottle, get one, or an eyedropper in the first place, because the Tamiya bottles do not come with one. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. I'm going to actually just take a cotton swab here afterwards and just circle it around in there, get the bulk of it out. You do want to spray it, but of course you want it to be a little bit gentle, because Tamiya's thinner and alcohol both can actually eat away at the O-rings of your airbrush gun. So I would recommend, I actually have replaced the O-rings on the inside of here with beeswax though. Beeswax is really, really good, so it actually allows me to spray it without harming the O-rings. And so you can see it's actually pretty clean now across the board. I'm going to pull out my needle though, all the way. As actually, the water did a really good job there. We don't see anything on it. I know my black one though, we're going to see lots of them. And so I'm still using that same cotton swab here, just getting the needle nice and clean. And that's actually pretty good, but you can still see that there's a hint of red in there. As there's a hint of red, it's definitely not clean yet. And so now we're actually going to do, I got a little bit of liquid in there. You don't need much to do the back draft, to do the back blow. So here we go. I'm going to get some air, cover it right here. I'm going to put my hand over it so I don't actually blow it right out into everything. So just cover it, or I like to use, once again, a paper towel or one of those shop rags as well. So that also will help absorb this liquid coming out. And so that just, once again, push out everything that was possibly in the nozzle out of it. So I'm going to go ahead, put in just a dab. This is just like a few drops of alcohol. I literally just put in 3. And then I'm going to push it. I got newspaper here, so I'm actually just going to spray it right onto the newspaper. And that was all with the needle out. So I cleaned the needle separately and did all that with the needle out. I'm going to go one last time, kind of dry it out with the Q-tip here, and you're going to see we're pretty clean now. We'll probably have a little bit left in the tip of the nozzle. Actually, no, it came out pretty good. Good thinning as well helps out with that. And there we go. It's all clean now. It's ready for its next use. Even Mike, another question about thinning paints. Golds, yellows, they always, every single time need thinning. Never had one that didn't. They always need thinning. Alright, airbrush 1 is clean. Airbrush 2 was put in with Viejo. So you can see actually we got a lot of it out with just water. That's another reason why I like the Viejo paints quite a bit. A lot comes out with water. I'm just going to spray out. There's some water in the chamber right now. You can see how much came out. Yeah, got to clean after every color for the most part. Now, granted, if you're going from a lighter color to a darker color, you're usually okay. So if I go from this chrome to this gray to this black, I'm usually going to be okay, actually. I don't have to clean it out nearly as strictly. because they build upon each other. But if I go to yellow to black, it actually it can be disastrous. So yeah, you never want to do something like that. Actually, I'm going to use just Tamiya thinner here. Oh, excuse me, not Tamiya. My apologies. Vallejo thinner to clean out the big bulk of that black stuff. It'll come out pretty easily too. It's about 5 drops in there. You can either use the same cotton swab or just a separate one. I'm going to use the same one here because it's just black color. Again. It does dry a little bit faster, so that's why I only do 5 drops at a time as well, because I do know it dries faster. And you'll see here these little tick lines, these little black little lines here as I rotate the needle. This are actually left over from inside the chamber since I painted last. And look at all that paint that still came out. That was red at one time. So I'm gonna wipe this down. Then again, I did put a lot more paint in there than I did for the Tamiya clear red. I still got just a dab left of liquid in there, so I'm gonna run this through one more time. Clean out the front nozzle. And yeah, look how much. I mean, that was once again that was almost practically clear. All right, and then I'm gonna do this guy. I was very liberal with it per se, so I'm just gonna spray some out, and then once again I'm gonna cover it up with one of my fingers, cover over it so it doesn't go everywhere, and I'm even gonna just dump the rest out right there onto the paper. And now, we are all clean. I'm going to take the dry side, dry it off in there, just to make sure there's no residue sticking there afterwards. And we are all good. You can see that we got most of it right here. So this brush is now ready to go again. And I've already, once again, it's really, really easy to clean off the needle, but it's also very important to clean off the needle. Alright, so we're going to do a couple different colors here real fast. I'm going to grab my chrome, and we're going to actually create that depth effect that we were talking about on that red piece. And then we're going to paint our chrome pieces specifically as well tonight. I'll only need a few drops, and I do have my smallest brush here as well for it. That works really, really good with it, and you can also see that this one's a little bit thicker looking. It's okay. This one comes out pretty good. It's deceiving, as a matter of fact, but it'll spray pretty well. So I'm gonna make sure my spray's clean. Yep, you can see that. Look how shiny that is. Going right here. I'm going to cover this whole backside with the chrome, and then look at that depth effect. That looks great. You can even still see it on the inside. So that's my favorite effect to kind of do. You can also do it in reverse too, where you paint the clear red and then you paint the chrome behind it, all on the same side. I specifically do that for like my Exia parts where I know that, hey, that glass chest piece is going to be seen. If you want it to even have more of a gloss effect, you just paint on the opposite side. Simple as that. But since this is going to be kind of hidden, I think it looks really good. I'm excited to put it into place. And then we're going to jump onto the parts of the Buster shield right here. And this is what we painted over with black. Watch how much this chrome is literally just going to pop like crazy now. I don't know about you, but that's pretty shiny. It looks super clean. Love it, love it, love it. There we go. Very, very nice. Alright, so we were asking, hey, whether or not we can paint with those colors. Well, let me throw in some Tamiya thinner, just a little bit here. I'm not going to do heavy cleaning here. You see, just got a little bit. It picks up the rest of the residue in there. And I'm literally just going to blow it up. Blow it out. So right out here. Alright, that's literally all the cleaning I'm going to do for it right now. And I'm literally going to go straight over to my gray color. Just so you can see how that looks. 5 drops. I got a fair amount to do, but it will still look pretty. We'll paint them as fast as we can. And once again, it's dry to the touch. These are the last pieces that we were actually painting. Was this these ones that we're going to be painting gray now? But yeah, that's how fast they dry as well. It's actually a little bit lighter than I was expecting, but I'll take it. And it's not from the chrome though as well. Like it just came out as a lighter color than I was expecting. Now, granted, there is something that we're missing, is that we haven't seen it dry. Dry with the primer may look different than what we see it right now. Actually, kind of reminds me of like primer gray as its final color. Alright, practically out of it. We're going to do one more set of 5 drops, finish up these pieces. And I have a yellow piece to do. Not going to do that one tonight. I don't like yellow. I think it always needs to be thinned. Alright. Give me 11 more minutes, guys. Show you what's going on here. I actually, even Mikey, if you want to see it, this actually probably needs a little bit of thinning, as a matter of fact. So the way that this paint works specifically, it still sounds pretty milky, but the way it's spraying, oh, I need to thin it because it's in a thinner, a smaller nozzle. If I was using my 0.3 millimeters, it'd be fine. But because I'm using this one, it needs a little bit of thinning. I like to do 5-to-1 ratio for this specific brand. 5 drops of paint, one drop of thinner. Yes, just that little bit, because it is actually that strong with it. I am also going to do one other step though, and that is I'm actually going to mix it. With thinning, you do want to also mix as well. But it's not spraying as well as I want it to, which is why I am thinning. So if that does happen while you're painting, add a drop of thinner first. See if that helps out with your painting to pick it back up. Yeah, actually the tip of my brush is also dry. I'm glad we get to see this. So the tip of my brush is dry. That happens when the paint is indeed too thick for the brush. I'm going to just take some thinner and put it actually on the needle head specifically. Just going to put it in a cotton swab right here. Clean it up. Rub it all sides, pull it in, do the same thing again. And just keep going at that just for a little bit until you see the paint come out by itself. This only happens mainly though with my 0.2 millimeters. It's a smaller brush, so it needs a thinner paint to go through it. Yep, and now it's coming out nice and how we want it to. Yep, coming out much better, much cleaner coat this time around. It depends, Evo Mikey. Sometimes, because, let's see, we are almost at final appearance right here, but give it still another 24 hours before you actually probably commit to top coating. If you want it to be glossy, then absolutely you have to top coat no matter what. And then if you want it to be more flat, I recommend top coating it once again. Now, If you're going to do decals, I always say top coat though, because you want to protect your decals, and the top coat will do that specifically. So if I have no decals, I don't top coat. But if I do have decals, I'm absolutely going to top coat. So in this instance, we got decals. We got lots of decals. We are definitely going to top coat this bad boy. Yep, it's getting more of the desired color as it dries out. And it looks very Gundam-y, like it's that Gundam gray color too. I quite like it quite a lot. Now I'm gonna pause right here. This is what I'm talking about, the bleeding effect of the primer. Right now, this is just one solid kind of. This is a thinned out version of that paint, and it's actually quite dark, and you can kind of see still the black through it at different angles. But I'm going to paint another coat over it though, because I want it to be a little bit lighter. One more coat, and still at different angles it looks like this panel line actually has some pretty good depth and shadowing. That's the bleed effect you get with thinning and then having a nice dark primer like that. And beard peels, yes, absolutely. The top coat definitely laminates the decals. There's a really good one called Microsol. It does a great job of top coating as well as sealing those decals into the paint in addition to that. So that's what I would recommend. Granted, any top coat does do a really good job with it, especially like it's an acrylic spray. Those work really, really good in addition to that. So that's the color I'm looking to achieve in general. So I want to say that took probably about like 3 overlays of spray there to get that color. So the final piece that we're going to have to do, and I'm going to do it off camera for you guys, so that way once again you're just not seeing the same thing over and over again. I just have to paint the blue for tonight, and I'm going to and the yellows. I know you guys have already seen that. We saw the 3 different colors painted tonight, the clear reds, and how we make those once again had depth. By the way, if you do that with the eyes, A1, best way to do it. And we saw that before, but yeah, so here's our clear red piece, and once again you see the depth, you see that it still looks like that glassy effect as well. We painted our grays. This is the initial piece that we painted. So very much once again has that Deathscythe color to it. And then here's our chrome. Still, man, I just love how metallic-y that looks. So fantastic. So I'm gonna paint. Yes, what am I gonna paint? We're painting all these bad boys. That navy blue color. So that'll be ready for next week's show specifically. So stay tuned for the next segment there of GunPla and Chill. We'll see you Wednesday evening as well. Jump on board there for some Gundam Wings Day. That's 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Mountain, now that we know we're there. So with that, have a wonderful evening. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we will catch you guys later. Ooh.